Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my thoughts on the Monochrome Manga Club selections for the month of October. So the Monochrome Manga Club is an in-real-life manga club that I host where we're reading 2 first-in-a-series selections, and we're currently doing 2 full series reads. So our first-in-a-series selections for the month of October were Volume 1 of Kindergarten Wars by Yu Chiba. This one is published by Yen Press, rated older teen. We also read Volume 1 of Killed Again, Mr. Detective. This one is by Inaba, original story by Teniwoha, and character design by Richu. This one is also published by Yen Press and rated teen. And then our 2 series reads that we are currently doing are Haikyuu by Haruichi Furudate. So we read volumes 34, 35, and 36. And then we're also reading Tokyo Revengers by Ken Wakui, and we read volumes 25 and 26 in the month of October. So because this is a first impressions video, and we are not at the beginning of either of these series, I will not be sharing my thoughts with you on these titles, but if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on them, you can check out my Desus 19 Diaries. So with that being said, let's talk about our 2 first-in-a-series selections for the month of October. So we'll start off with Volume 1 of Kindergarten Wars. So in this world, there is a government program where they have convicts of a certain caliber assigned to a elementary school, I would say. It's either an elementary school or a preschool. It's a little hard to tell with how the children are drawn, but there's a government program and they put these convicts into this program to protect the children that are going to that school because they are the children of high-ranking officials or really rich, prominent people and things like that. And so they're targets for a lot of unsavory people trying to get to said parents. And so we're following our character here on the cover. She is convict number 999, and she is a very skilled assassin. So we open up and we kind of get to know her a little bit about her personality. And one of the things that she really wants to do is date. And so she kind of tries to meet people around her workplace and things, because the workplace program is pretty strict. There's lots of rules. You can't be far away from the school, and you have to act a certain way and make sure you do your job. Otherwise, there's swift and severe punishments. And so she really wants to date, but she can't really go out and date. And so she's like, well, as I meet people across my profession, I'll start to try to strike up a conversation. So that's pretty much what she does in the first couple of chapters of this volume, but it's quickly realized that she has some certain character traits. And in any case, there are also lots of people that want to get at these kids at the school. So you also see her in her job protecting these children and going after the people that are trying to get to them. And so it's really interesting. You also meet a couple of the other convicts in this program at the school, and the headmaster at the school, who is also the person who keeps the convicts in line and things like that. I found this volume to be very interesting. It is quite comedic. And I will say that after reading the first 2 chapters, I was a little concerned that all of the chapters in this series or in this volume were going to be the same, because the first 2 chapters are pretty similar to each other. And while I found them entertaining, I could not be interested in a story that was just little snippets like that. Thankfully, in chapter 3, something changes and we get to see more of another employee, I should say, another person who's enrolled in the program, and get to know them a little bit, and then something happens, and then we also meet somebody else who's new to the program later on in the volume. So it is evolving as a story, which I really appreciated. I found that the kind of, I guess you would call them cases, but maybe more like situations that come up with the kids and things to be very interesting. I would like a little bit more depth in regards to that, just because there's no real reason why, like, the criminals, for why they're going after the kids. And I kind of wish that there was some reason for it. Maybe later on in this series there'll be like a bigger story where, you know, maybe we'll focus on one of the kids and the whole reasoning for that. But as of right now, it was a really good opening volume, I think. It definitely brought out all of the little comedic things, plus the serious nature of what's happening and how, you know, they have to really protect these little kids. And the little kids are so adorable. Oh my goodness, they are really, really cute. And they're like obliviousness to some of the more dangerous things that are going on around them. I just really enjoyed this volume, and I'll definitely be continuing. I believe we picked up the second volume while we were at the Barnes & Noble after the meeting, and I really like the art style. I thought the story was pretty entertaining, and I'm looking forward to continuing. So that is Kindergarten Wars. I think if you enjoyed, like, we read the Hitman Stands in September, kind of a similar feel as far as like the criminal stuff that's going on, because we are dealing with a couple of assassins and things like that. So I think if you enjoyed that volume, you might also enjoy this one. And so that brings us to volume 1 of Killed Again, Mr. Detective. So in this volume, we have our detective, who is our character here on the cover. And he's a teen detective. He's still going to high school, and he has his partner, Lily Thea, who is this girl on the cover. And he is the son of a pretty famous and reputable detective. It doesn't tell you why the father is as prominent as is mentioned on the back cover, but as you go through the volume, you definitely find out why he has a certain reputation. But in any case, we have our detective here. He's trying to become a full-fledged detective, but he's not there yet, especially because he's still like young and stuff. And so he ends up getting assigned a case where he has to go on this cruise ship to kind of do some undercover work to see if somebody's having an affair. And he gets assigned this case by his dad because his dad is actually going on another case, so he can't assign it to anybody else that's in his like little group of detectives. And so it's kind of a way for the son to prove himself and his abilities and things like that. There's something different about our little detective here, though. Our detective here has the ability to resurrect when he dies. And obviously, before this story has started, that has been figured out, and he's already resurrected a few times. And every time he resurrects, his assistant is there with him. So anyway, they go on to this cruise ship to start investigating this alleged affair, and they end up getting caught up in another case. And so we're pretty much just following the investigation into that. And it's interesting. I enjoyed it. I will say the depictions of some of the scenes in this volume are a little gruesome. For example, there is a depiction of a hanged body, and not just like one in shadow, but there's one like fully illuminated with the expression on the face and everything. So I thought that was surprising, especially because this volume is only rated teen. But other than that, I don't think anything else really like struck me as far as the like gruesome nature or anything that I would consider not really teen. I enjoyed the investigation. I thought it was very logical. I enjoyed the detective's sleuthing style, which is always something that's very important to me with mysteries. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what other cases our investigative duo here gets into. Something definitely happens at the end of this volume that's kind of cliffhangery. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what the outcome is of that. I'm looking forward to learning more about our detective's father and maybe why our detective is able to resurrect. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It kind of gave me the same vibes as The Detective Is Already Dead. I did read that one as a light novel, so not as a manga volume. But we're also dealing with a teen male sleuth in that one. So I think if you like mysteries, I think you'd really enjoy this one. And it's got a little bit of a fantastical twist to it, right? Because he's able to come back from the dead. And you do see him get killed in this volume and resurrect. So I really enjoyed this one. I'm looking forward to seeing, like I said, what other cases our duo gets into. And so, yes. So those were our 2 first in a series selections for the month of October. Before I let you go, I do want to let you know what we will be reading for the month of November. So in the month of November, we will be continuing our series reads. So we will be reading Haikyuu, volumes 37, 38, and 39. So I think if you know this series at all, whether you've been watching the anime or reading the manga, we are finishing up the dumpster battle and heading into the Kamomedai game. I believe there is a Fukurodani game somewhere in between there too. So I'm really looking forward to these volumes. And so, yes, we'll be reading those. Those are by, again, Haruichi Furudate, published by Viz Rated Teen. And then we will also be reading another volume of Tokyo Revengers, volumes 27 and 28 by Ken Wakui. I believe this is the second to the last volumes, or as far as the omnibus goes, the second to the last volume of the series. And I am a little bit anxious about getting there, but you know, we'll see how it goes. I'm still continuing to enjoy that one though, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in those volumes. And for our first in a series volumes, we will be reading volume 1 of The God-Slaying Demon King. This one is by Ezo Gingitun. I think that's how you pronounce it. That person does the story. It's art by Pigthird and character designs by Teddy. This one is published by Square Enix Manga, rated older teen. So this one says the Demon King is dead. Long live the Demon King. Hiram, the strongest Demon King in history, refused to obey the demon god's demand for sacrifices. A fierce battle ensued, which ended with Hiram losing his life. In the end, not even the mightiest Demon King could subvert the natural order of the world. Years later, Hiram reincarnates himself as a young human to escape the demon god's control and to tap into humanity's considerable innate potential. And thus, Hiram sets out on a journey to find the demon god and kill him. So I thought this sounded interesting, definitely something a little bit different from what we've been reading lately with the Monochrome Manga Club, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what this one is about. And then we will also be reading volume 1 of Beyblade X. This one is by Homura Kawamoto and Hikaru Muno, art by Posuka Demizu. I believe they also did art for The Promised Neverland, right? This one is published by Viz, rated all ages. So I think if you know Beyblade, you know that this is a kind of battle manga with spinning tops, right? So this one says Bladers are ready to battle it out. They've set their sights on the top of the X Tower and are prepared to fight their way to victory. With new technology and powerful opponents entering the arena, Beyblades are pushed to their extremes as they race through a new era. Amateur blader Robin Kazumi is left without a team after a crushing defeat. Things start to look up when he runs into former Beyblade champion Jackson Cross, who is on his own journey to fight back to the top of the X Tower under the alias Blader X. This unlikely duo teams up and vows to rise to the top of Beyblade. So I think if you watched my August, manga haul, I hauled this one. My daughter was really into Beyblade when she was a kid, and she continues to try to keep up with some of it, but I actually had to talk her into picking this one up. I thought for sure this would be something that she wanted to check out, but she was like, But I'm interested in getting into this because I did watch some of it when she was a kid. I'm pretty much only really familiar with the first season or so, though. So I haven't really gotten into much more of the Beyblade universe. But since there's manga, I thought that it would be interesting to get into it and maybe read and see how I feel about the battles being on page as opposed to watching it animated. And so I'm looking forward to this one. It's kind of has a nostalgic feel for me because, like I said, my daughter was watching this a lot or watching Beyblade a lot when she was growing up. And so, yes, I'm looking forward to this one. And so those will be all of our selections for the month of November. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these volumes or if you've read October selections, what your thoughts on them. Please don't forget that if you would like to read along with us, you can definitely do so. Just let me know your thoughts down in the comments of videos like these, or you can check out our Discord, which is linked in the description box below. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a magnifying glass emoji for Killed Again, Mr. Detective, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out, and that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.